All right, we'll call to order the finance meeting for Thursday, December 12th. First agenda item, approval of the minutes from the November 14th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 14th, 2024 Finance Committee meeting.
I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Update CDBG Tri-Town Rehab Funds.
Oh, yeah, so we had talked about when reviewing the special revenue funds in the last couple of meetings, what we could do with these unexpended funds from the CDBG program. So we had a meeting with town manager, myself, the representative, the agent for housing community development on the state side, and also the housing authority agent, because they do have an active CDBG grant in place doing rehab at the housing authority. So what we were able to come up with was that if we go forward with the 80,000, again, it's split into two pieces on that one fund, but there's actually two components. With the part that is the rehab, the 80,000, because there is an existing program, being the one at the housing authority, that with a letter and a resolution from council, that we could allocate our 80,000 to that project. To apply it to anything else, we'd have to do some kind of a study, make sure there was a need assessment, and the fact that that's kind of an very time consuming and challenging thing to do, especially in Rocky Hill, to show need. I think our best recommendation with that is to transfer those funds to the rehab, the housing authority program that's already starting up. As for the second component, which is Tri-Town, according to the state agent, they basically said that because there were Tri-Town, 3 towns involved, each town would have to agree to be doing a public hearing to delegate their portion. And again, we'd have to be looking at a needs assessment. So in our update, our recommendation is that we go forward with the 80,000 rehab and transfer that to the housing authority. And for the Tri-Town, that our second option obviously was to return the funds, which was the original intent of the state with unexpended funds. So that's where we are with our current update on that fund. So if any questions?
So will we need public hearings for both of these, it looks like?
Yeah. Yes. I recommend we do just the town of Rocky Hill over housing rehab at this point. It looks like it might get rather a tangled mess when we start looking at the Tri-Town.
I'm just trying to figure that out myself. So basically we have two different components here.
Correct.
And we could treat them as two different, I think. Right. So we have $80,000 with a public hearing and a couple of steps. We could move that money to the housing authority.
Correct.
But we can also separately, I just don't want to give money back to the state if we have use for it amongst the Tri-Town. And I'm a little hesitant to just give money back if there's a potential that we could use it.
Yeah, and the other option was that is if we reach to those other towns, if they want to do a public hearing and try to repurpose their component. I mean, we could reach out to them and see if they're interested in going that route. And again, it's basically it's a third of that. It's not exactly a third. We'll just iron out the exact amounts, but reaching back to them if they're
So
interested.
83 is the total amount shared by the 3 towns?
That's right.
Oh, okay, so we have.
Yeah, that's one rehab project, maybe.
Okay.
And if the houses that are being rehabbed contain lead or PCBs or old caulking, just that alone could take up 80, the whole pot of money on one project. So it's not a lot of money. And I don't know if it's worth the hassle of actually going through the process and trying to determine who gets what or how many projects are out there.
Mhm.
I've been here for 18 years and I have not had a request for that. I don't know about you, Mona.
You know, and I would do dread that. Last time when we did this, the Rocky Hill was the manager of that fund, which became believe it or not, it was a little burdensome. We had actually it was L. Wagner was working with that because it's getting the loan documents together and the appropriate town and managing the costs and the reimbursements. So it gets to be a little bit of a piece of paperwork, and because we were the managers, with the existing one, we would still continue that responsibility of managing it as a tri-town. So
Have
there
you
may
spoken,
be some management costs to come out of it.
have you spoke to the other two towns about their thoughts on this, or
No,
Not yet.
not yet.
would that probably be the next thing to see, or like, does everybody have to do the same thing, I guess, or?
Yeah, we don't know. Right now, we just want to get whatever money we can to the housing authority to get that project going. You know, if they can use $80,000, which I'm sure they could, they would love to incorporate that into their budget as soon as possible.
Mhm.
But in order to do that, we have to submit a letter to DOH.
Yep.
Get their approval, and then go through the public hearing process and then incorporate that money into the budget for the housing authority project. Which I don't know how they'll, what the consultant will do that. The consultant for the town who's managing the $2 million grant will take care of that.
So remind me again, the tri-town purpose, that money is for removing hazardous chemicals from houses, or?
It's for housing rehabilitation for people who are meet the income thresholds. It's for rehabbing their houses, new windows, if they have to do work for siding or roofs or, rotted wood or whatever. But, if that house contains lead paint, the hazard removal is first, it's a priority in the process.
So, I mean, this is probably not possible, but we could just, once we figured out what Rock Hill's portion was, we couldn't give that to the Rock Hill Housing Authority as well.
Not right now. I mean, we don't have time to do that. This housing authority, they're ready to get going. That's why we want to do our grant first and then work on the other tri-town as soon as we can after that.
No, I'm not talking about timing wise. I'm just saying conceptually, like down the road, like once we get everything worked out, could that money just go to them perhaps, or?
I don't know. It's not, it could be. We have to talk to DOH. They have layers and layers of regulation and processes for this type of grant. So we just need to clarify that.
So your suggestion is to act on the 80,809 first. And
Right.
that's gonna take some more homework to figure out how to figure what to do with the rest.
Yeah, and that I agree with that. I just don't want to give the 82.9 back until we go through some processes and understand what that is.
Yeah.
But I think that's separate from the $80,800.
Yes, right, exactly.
Yes. So now I guess the question is, because we're moving money, should this really be on the consent agenda? Or should it
This
go
is an
under?
update, not an action item, actually. We just wanted to
Yeah.
let you know where we
Oh.
were, and then we'll bring it back as a new.
I'm sorry. Okay, so this is just an action.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I'm jumping ahead on that, I guess.
Do it. I mean, so just at our council meeting Monday, when this comes up, we'll just say we want to schedule a public hearing. We'll figure out the time and day and go from there.
Right.
Well, I didn't look at the count. Is this on the agenda already for the council meeting? I didn't look at the.
No, it's no, because it was an update item. It's not on the agenda. Should we adjust it?
Or can Alan just bring it up when he does his finance
Correct.
update, and then we could talk about a date then, or?
Well, we'd have to then amend the agenda as an
So-
action item.
Yeah, we can't talk about a date until we contact the DOH representative first to let them know that we are actually going to move forward. And I have to submit a letter sent. So after we do that and after they say, okay, and then we'll do that process for a public hearing and schedule. it.
Sal, could you just do it? You can just do it up, a general update, and then this will come back later to do the
Right.
others when it makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Then I guess we move on to 3, discussion and possible action, resolution, special revenue industrial park transfer.
Okay, and again, this is another one of our items that we had on special revenue that had no activity for a number of years. This one's an easier one to handle, and it's by this resolution that if we transfer this from special revenue, again, this wasn't state mandated or controlled. These funds can be transferred to non-reoccurring. The resolution's recommending if we put it to non-reoccurring and have it as unassigned, so it'll be available in the future if we see a project that you would like to allocate it to, rather than trying to pinpoint something with this resolution. We have about 100, well, I'll have it a little bit later, the over 100, probably closer to 200,000 in unassigned that could be applied to something in the future. So our recommendation is to take that balance, 28,665.49, and transfer to non-reoccurring.
Jeff, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, do you have any questions, or we just make the motion?
Go ahead.
Okay. I will make a motion to send to the consent agenda for our next town council meeting, the resolution regarding special revenue industrial park to capital non-reoccurring, to transfer $28,665.49 out of special revenue industrial park development fund to non-recurring unassigned.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
At least you got one good arm to raise.
Yeah, I can't raise my proper one, but you're gonna have to look at it.
Sorry, Jeff.
I'm going mirror mode, so it looks like my right.
There you go.
All right, number 4, discussion, possible action, Urban Act Grant, Veterans Memorial Green.
Yeah, some time ago, probably almost 2 years ago, Representative Wood was successful in securing a $500,000 grant. Initially to help with the demolition of the Ames property for the redevelopment, but that was reassigned, and we were successful in reassigning that to improvements to the Veterans Memorial Green and Dividend Road. Right now, we're working on a concept plan with engineering to come up with a design that will improve the park with some pavers and some decorative fencing, and also slightly reconfigure that stretch of Dividend Road from Pratt Street to Main Street to try to slow some traffic down, add some parking actually within the right of way without infringing on the park. We're able to get about 6, maybe 5 or 6, maybe 7 parking spaces along the road that would be beneficial for green users and also for, limited parking for whatever events we have there, and some decorative crosswalks. So in order to get this continuously moving along, we have to pass a resolution at the town council level to just approve me entering into an agreement with the state. It's a typical boilerplate resolution that the council has seen for years. We did a few of them last year, I think, or a year before.
Mm-hmm. So, Ray, just to kind of clarify, this is a resolution authorizing you to work to accept the grant, but not specific to the plan at this point, right?
Correct.
The plan is still being developed separately.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And is this a grant where the town needs to match funding at all, or?
No, Urban Act grant was just a $500,000 grant. So we'll do whatever the grant covers up to $500,000.
Okay, so there's no downside to, or there's no financial commitment. Okay, gotcha. Okay. So you guys are fine putting this on the consent agenda versus a regular new business item because of that?
No, yeah, I mean, it's been done. You guys have done this many times in the past.
Yep. No, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So with that, I'll make a motion to send to Monday's town council meeting, the consent agenda, the resolution in our packet with regards to the Urban Act grant for Veterans Memorial Green Dividend Road Improvement grant for $500,000.
I will second. Any further discussion? No, all in favor? Aye.
Come on, Nona, this is your grant.
I know it. I'm so,
Grant for a year.
yes, if you see the insert, please note where it says 2023. This, I think, came to finance probably about 2 years ago when we were trying to apply for this. And I'm going to give a lot of the credit to Phil Sear in Facilities, who probably every other month reminded them he still really needed the money. So we put that together and met with the state. We've had a heck of a time and finally got our award. We had mentioned this in a CIP meeting just a few days ago, that we were possibly looking at funding this through financing, because we weren't sure if this grant was going to be awarded. So this is great news that they're going to be funding the 135,000. And we will just have the 45,000, which we actually have in this year's budget. So there'll be no additional cost for the future years.
So we jumped ahead to the police generator grant.
I did. Did I miss something?
Oh,
No, that's okay. You just got so excited you went off on that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I started it. He got me going.
yeah, I'm like, what does Phil have to do with the Urban Act?
Yes.
Sorry.
We already-
Now, no.
we did the Urban Act grant. We're on number 5, FEMA.
Yeah. That's all right. We're moving right along. So
Yes.
do we need to, no, just an update on this. And that's, positive news. We'll
Yes, it is.
be able to get the new generator and finally stop talking about it for
Mhm.
long, many years. And hopefully we never need it, but always good to know we have the backup there. All right, update on the special revenue fund.
Okay, so we did talk about a couple of those already. And I did notice on the handout, I've got number 1, 2, and 3 and no footnotes below it, so I'll tell you about those. But first I was gonna stop at the town clerk, which is probably about 3 lines above where I have my number 1 in there. Because we had conversation about what those funds could be used for, because they had accumulated. And I found definition from state on that. And let me see if I have it handy. And basically their funds can be used for any restoring, conserving land records, maps, other records, microfilming. So basically any of these town documents, whether we're storing them or putting them on microfiche, some type of technology, and it can be used for any of the facilities. We needed new shelves or improve the room. Town manager and I have had conversations with community development in particular because of their large maps and records, which they've been wanting to have put on microfilm or stored in technology. And we'll be looking a little further into using the funds to help in that area.
Excellent.
As far as other items on special revenue, I had a little earmark by number 1. It says for the police grants, that's opioid, just to let you know, we had another 9,500 come in for that fund. As you know, we did the Palooza, which was a great activity to pull everyone together. So we'll continue to focus on that, doing the outreach. Next item is number 2, which is the fire. You can see that we're expending it as it's coming in. Just keep in mind that the revenues tend to come a couple months after they've been submitted, so it's a bit of a slow turnaround. And the purchase that was in there was for helmets.
No, the
So-
revenue here, do you
Pardon me?
recognize on the revenue? Do you recognize it on a cash basis or an accrual basis?
We do. It's a modified accrual, so it'll be cash throughout the year, and then at year end, we'll measure a receivable.
Okay.
And just marking on number 3, that 400,000, we're looking for the reimbursement for the Elmridge Park. That's all complete. Invoices were submitted, so hopefully we'll see the reimbursement on that shortly.
Okay.
And those are the highlights for special revenue.
Jeff, any questions on those? No. I don't either, so we'll jump on to reserve for capital and non-reoccurring.
Okay. Not a lot of activity there. The only item to point out would be probably toward the bottom of the page for school expenditures. They have, it's 73,000 now. It's basically the largest piece of that, we just gave a purchase order to the design for architect for the West Hill roof project. The actual project itself won't start until about 2 years, and it'll be in the Board of Ed CIP request. So that's for the design. Other than that, not any great activity happening in non-recurring this month.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to the state aid for municipalities.
And there is no change since the last month.
Did we get an answer, the last meeting, the municipal revenue sharing? They, I guess, pulled the funding back, and I guess none of us were really clear, was it just Rocky Hill who lost funding, or
No.
did all towns lose funding?
Right, all that were on the list. I wrote back to state OPM just with that question, and it was not just a Rocky Hill. It's all those that received the funding for that. Apparently, it's a varying scale when they're distributing that. So there were probably some towns that weren't expecting it anyway. So
Gotcha.
everyone was in the formula.
Okay, so anybody who was getting it is
Correct.
no longer getting it.
Exactly.
Okay, that's I think that's important clarification, because
Mhm.
I think we all had some misinterpretation on that one. So
Yes, so I did write back, and that was our response.
okay, all right. Jeff, you good there?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll move on to the monthly financial report.
Okay. So I'm gonna jump, as I usually do, I'm gonna jump into that tax collector's revenue page. Still continuing to be over $1 million behind the benchmark. I think giving reason to be concerned. These things, you know, it's a timing issue. I think when we look at the January payments, I think will be the point where we can make a decision if we need to do something on the expenditure side in case these revenues aren't coming in. But the timing of the December bills could be a reflection there, as well as we will be sending out, actually probably just went out, the supplemental motor vehicle, about 900,000 of that bill going out. So this could turn around. It's probably a little premature to panic, but I'm watching it carefully. We also went with our tax serve collection agency that we approved and sent out over 2,000 letters out to taxpayers, totaling just short of $2 million. So ideally, we will not receive all that, but this is, I think, this is the first time that we've gone with the collection agency for such a large volume and dollar amount. So hopefully that'll have a good turnaround for us on the revenue side.
Okay.
I can maybe jump into all the other categories. We talked about state revenue. We know where that is, except for municipal revenue sharing, we're doing fine. Conveyance and building, just slightly ahead of the mark. Again, if you look at the line item for workers' comp, it looks like we've got a great budget situation that's really just offsetting costs for actual cases. Expenditure side, we're on target. Salaries are just slightly below for turnover. On the overtime, but the patrol is at 61%. We're seeing kind of a new, not necessarily new to us this year, situation occurring, and that's people that are out on long-term illnesses or workers' comp, not necessarily the police, but they have a number of them there, so that salaries covering the overtime is not necessarily going to take care of itself. In that case, you got somebody that's out, we're paying full salary and paying overtime to cover. So that's that great one for one balancing, I think is might have a negative turn on the side of overtime.
So Mona, I think the 61% may have been last month's number.
Oh, okay, I'm
I
sorry.
think it's up to 70. I'm looking at page,
It's climbing.
the PDF page 16, and it's at
Mhm.
72%.
Yeah.
So now we're at a point where this, yeah, obviously the full-time salaries aren't going to cover.
Correct.
So
They will surpass it. Correct.
right. So where do we come up with the offset?
Yeah, and that's kind of what we do all year here is watch this.
Yep.
We have obviously the contingency, that's the first area that covers these type of situations.
Mhm.
Contingency also helps us out in the snow for covering excessive overtime there or salt. As we go through, and I think it'll happen, it's really what my office is doing all the time. To come when I'm looking at those revenues that are coming in from the tax that are coming slowly, there's probably, not to put the alarm button, but there's probably a high likelihood that we would freeze expenditures. So there'll be no additional unnecessary purchase of equipment and training and so forth. So I think we could be going in that direction as I watch some of these, the overtimes and then the tax situation going on. So other than that, we don't have anything that comes through and bails it out. It's the contingency, which is not a great amount, about 400,000. That's also covering retirees. If we have a large retirement, which we had a couple, that takes a little piece out of that. So we're going to watch it. I'll watch it carefully, and that's what we'll be doing.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's in a line item, public safety, that we have to have.
We do.
It's not a like, it's a need. So we really have to start looking at that offset, because
Oh, I am.
if the number was 61 last month and jumped to 72 this month, it's going to probably continue that trend, and we're going to have to figure that out. As you noted, we're behind on the revenue side, the collection side, but we're also behind on that loss of $200,000. It just all adds up. That
It does.
makes it a little bit more challenging.
Yes, it does. Yeah, in fact, we're meeting with for the police department. In fact, we'll be meeting with them and we're going to look at projections. I've already created projections for them, looking at, what is the full-time salary at this and projecting if we continue overtime at the certain rate, as you understand what a projection involves. So we're already doing projections, which is
Okay.
ahead of the game. Like I said, it's more of like a January type situation, but watching this and then seeing the people that are out on long-term leaves where that starts creating the overtime and is not an offset. So we're going to watch that. We're
Okay.
actually meeting about it. Yeah. Let me see. I think otherwise there may be items that we've talked about in the past. We've discussed that software overage because of the transitioning of software. That particular overlap has ended. We've closed off the previous contract, so it's not going to continue. It's just the overage has occurred and will show up continually. Tree service continues to go high. And hopefully we won't be doing any trees from here to the end of the year. That'd probably be one of those areas where we just have to cut back and do emergency service only. Senior food, if you're looking through the detail, they have an overage. Our accounting manager has worked with Gina in senior activities, and they've transferred any excesses off to her special revenue. All future purchases will go to her special revenue. And that is the way her program is designed. We do the upfront subsidy, and then any overages we switch off and she starts taking it food purchases from her fee collections. Like I mentioned in the past, capital, we've got the town aid road, that's at 60%. That can be one of those items, as you're mentioning, what do you do when you're having, these, getting close in the budget? The town aid road may be something that has to be on hold once we get through the winter. And that's it.
Jeff, questions on your end?
No, I think you've hit the highlights, so I think we're good.
Okay. Let's see, that's 9:10. Approval with the 2025 meeting dates.
Yes, so you should have had something sent out
Yep,
in the packet. Okay, so as long as they look good, we can approve and adjust and go forward.
I don't have that on my agenda.
Oh dear. I think it was
So-
in the email,
yeah, I
The-
got it.
the second round, because I think when we had amended the meeting to be a remote, it was in that second round of,
There's,
amendments,
oh,
I
okay,
believe.
I was opening the original ones. Okay, so
Yeah.
so just open that packet and, oh yeah, there is, okay.
It's on, it should be on the end. I think it was the last item on the end.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Um, Trying to find where the dates are in the packet. I'm trying to scroll through this. real-
Yes,
It's the same schedule.
There, I think I can share my screen. I think it allows that.
oh, good, that'd be great.
Yeah, 'cause I'm not.
Did that
There
work?
we go.
No, wrong screen, I think. 1 second, I guess I gotta put the,
Oh, those are
This-
dates.
You're good.
oh, you got it? Okay.
Oh
showing
yeah,
the-
looks good, thanks.
It's basically the same Thursdays as this year, I assume, so.
Yeah, and it's still 6 o'clock.
Yes,
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the list of finance committee meeting dates for 2025 as stated in our packet.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. All right, I just lost my agenda, but here it is. Okay, approval of meeting dates. Other,
nothing.
had-
other.
I just had one question under other. We had a topic probably 2 or 3 meetings ago about the cell towers and the fees we would get from them. And then I think we sent it back for more clarification on things. Is that something we're coming back to us soon, or where do we stand on that?
Yeah, let me tell you where we were with that. I reached back to them and I mean, basically, I think they wanted to create this scenario that, again, we had 5 years remaining and that their urgency on their part was to basically know where we were going to stand, because if they didn't have more than 5 years in advance to assure, others that were going to be coming onto the tower, that, it was more of a security measure on their side, on Castle's side. They want to say, these people are staying for the next 30 years. But after conversation with them, and let them know that, we work on an annual basis and we have 5 years remaining, and that we'd prefer to not have it a topic for the next few years. Our intention was not to sell, so I assured them of that, and our intention was to do a renewal, but it was 5 years early to do the renewal, and they were happy with that, and that's where we are.
Okay.
we have nothing else under other. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second, and all in favor?
All right.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you Monday night.
Good night,
Okay.
everybody.